Let's begin with the West Asian conflict. America and Israel's war against Iran has dragged the entire region in the ambit of strikes and counterstrikes. 2 days after the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Hezbollah opened a fresh front against Israel from the neighboring Lebanon. Israel responded with a ground and aerial offensive against the Lebanese group. And since then, more than 1,000 people have been killed in Lebanon and over 1 million others have been displaced. The destruction in Lebanon is only second to Iran, which is the primary target of US and Israeli operations. More recently, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced an expansion of the buffer zone inside Lebanon's territory.
We have created a genuine security zone that does not allow a ground infiltration towards the Galilee and the northern border. We are expanding this security zone to push the threat from anti-tank missiles on our communities and on our territory. We are simply creating a larger buffer zone.
Netanyahu went on to say that dismantling Hezbollah remains one of Israel's central objectives in Lebanon and that his objective has a broader connection to the confrontation with Iran. In fact, the Israeli Prime Minister said that he is, quote, determined to profoundly transform the situation in Lebanon. Israeli troops are meanwhile engaging in a gunfight with Hezbollah fighters inside Lebanon. The IDF has confirmed deaths of at least 3 of its soldiers at the front lines. Earlier in the day, Israeli forces said that its Golani brigade has destroyed 200 installations in southern Lebanon. But on ground, the damage to infrastructure and the loss of civilian lives paints a grim picture. Israel also faces grave accusations of breaking international law. Human Rights Watch has reported that Israeli forces appear to have used white phosphorus munitions over southern Lebanon. Hezbollah is also carrying out waves of attacks targeting various locations inside Israel on a daily basis. And in the latest, sirens blared in Haifa due to fresh rocket salvo fired by Hezbollah. The tussle, remember, it's not just on the borders of Lebanon, it is also brewing domestically. Hezbollah chief Naim Qasim says the group will not stand down or surrender. He said that negotiating with Israel under fire would amount to surrender for Lebanon. The Hezbollah chief also promised that it would fight to prevent Israeli troops from occupying the south, calling such a move as an existential threat to the Lebanese state. Hezbollah's refusal to negotiate with Israel came after Lebanon's president, Joseph Aoun, proposed direct negotiations with Israel and a full truce. Now remember that Hezbollah fighters do not fall under the official army of Lebanon, but despite this, the group dominates the country's security posture in the southern border with Israel. On the political front, Hezbollah also has lawmakers in the parliament, making this an internal tussle as well with other parties and the top leadership of Lebanon. All right, let me welcome on the show Bishop Garrison. He's a senior fellow at the National Security Institute in George Mason University Law School and former senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense. He's joining us live from Virginia. Good evening, Bishop, and welcome to WION. I want to understand from you how you see this conflict deepening between Israel and Lebanon on a day when the GCC General Secretary has said that, we have not responded to Iranian strikes despite the fact that Iran has crossed red lines.
All right, thank you for having me. Good evening. Yes, ultimately, you're looking at two sides to see this conflict is beginning or continuing to bubble over as an existential threat. So ultimately, we're going to have to see what they're going to be willing to compromise on. And right now, there doesn't seem to be any willingness from either side to even look for a compromise.
Okay. As far as Israel's posture is concerned, Bishop, they have been unrelenting, and so has been Hezbollah. Israel reasons it out, saying that, look, this is an existential fight for us. Hezbollah has been attacking us as a proxy since the 7th October attacks happened. And so where do you see this moving forward now from here on?
Well, the main issue is just from a pragmatic perspective, this isn't going to be sustainable, especially when you're now talking about having this front with Lebanon. You're looking at Israel looking for other targets for Hezbollah elsewhere. and you have the ongoing conflict, this full-blown now with Iran and Israel and the United States' support. So at some point, you have to ask exactly like what is a pragmatic, reasonable military objective? The complete dismantling of Hezbollah on top of everything else Israel is really facing right now is going to be incredibly difficult. We in the United States had a global war on terrorism that lasted for 20 odd years, and we're continuing to determine what the best outcomes were of that conflict. So you can't do all the things at once, and Israel is going to have to continue to strategically prioritize and decide what is the best approach that it needs to take in this moment.